Okay, folks, welcome to part 2 of this week's member stock pick request. Let's begin with Nucor and U.S. Steel. This is from fellow member Rod. U.S. Steel being the first one up. Rod, I'm going to have to say no as a long to U.S. Steel. I think if anything, it's probably going to be a short. Why? What you're taking a look at here is a head and shoulders setup, and a successful one at that. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And what do I mean by successful? Well, you can see this pattern quite often. And more often than not, they fail and the stock or the index continues higher. Most recently, you heard all the talking heads on CNBC talking about the head and shoulders setup on the Dow Jones and on the S&P 500. What happened? It shot higher. No head and shoulders setup. So in this case, you had a successful head and shoulders setup, and what does that mean? It means that we broke the neckline right here, and we broke down even worse below 2441. So we are making lower highs and lower lows. You never want to see that if you want to be long. If you're short, well, then that's a different story. The past couple of days of topping action, as noted by these topping tails, not very good. So we're kind of in a holding pattern with the stock. So what I would do is, if I were looking to short, I would open up a short position on a close below $24 per share. Just be careful. You're going to have the 200-day moving average acting as support. RSI very weak. Volume declining. Not very good at all. So U.S. Steel, I would avoid, especially in light of the events of what's going on in China. Nucor, daily chart. We were in a triangle formation. We attempted to break out, as noted by this topping tail, and failed. We broke down below the lower band of the triangle formation. It was confirmed with a breakdown on RSI. If anything right now, Nucor is a short. And again, you'll probably find support at the 200-day moving average. I would prefer to wait, unless you're a day trader or a very, very short-term swing trader. I would prefer to wait for a pullback, a retest of the 200-day moving average, let it rally up to the upper band of the declining downtrend channel, and then open up a short. But right now, it is not a long. Volume grew today over the 11th. So, Rod, I would avoid the steel names right now. This goes for the entire sector. And I was bullish. We profited from AK Steel only a few weeks ago, but right now I have to turn my back to the sector due to China. Lantic Power. We traded this. This is a stock for fellow member Dale. We traded this stock as an extreme oversold stock. It's got to be a couple of years ago now. And we did quite well with it. So we have been in a long-term downtrend. We found support at $2.08, rallied up to the upper band of the declining downtrend line, and we broke through. Now, would I be a buyer on this breakout right now? No, I would not. What I would look to do is exactly what we did with one of our holdings today. Dale, you'll know which one it is we want to look for a pullback and a retest of what was resistance should now act as support. We want to see bottoming tails. We want to see a retest. We want the markets to tell us that there are buyers down here willing to come in, step up to the plate, and bid the shares higher. The selling volume has been quite light, but you also have to take note that the up volume has been light. So I wouldn't be a buyer just yet. I would wait for that successful retest of prior resistance and what should now be support. Be careful of money flow, possible head and shoulders setup. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see that pullback, Dale, but I would view that as an opportunity. And real quick, let's take a look at the weekly chart, see if we have anything interesting. All right, first thing that pops out at me is the RSI making higher lows. Good bottoming tails. So somebody liked it at 208, and they've been bidding it back up to the upper band of the declining downtrend channel on a weekly chart. But you can see the pause, no new weekly high. Good double bottom setup on the Stokes. Money flow looking good, making higher lows. You always want to see that in the stock that's recovering. So Lantic Power is looking good, Dale. I would just wait for that pullback. Next stock up is for fellow member Mike. This is Sandridge. I haven't even thought about this stock in quite some time, but I was actually watching an interview with a guy that I really like. That's Leon Cooperman, great investor, and he happens to be a big-time investor in Sandridge. And so when I saw the request from Mike, I took an extra special look at it because of Mr. Cooperman. And here you have a cup with handle formation, flagging out, downward sloping handle, and we've broken out. Now we're in a consolidation range. You don't want to buy unless we come back down to retest $6.18, or you can buy on a closing breakout above $6.75. Members, you know what I mean by that. Be careful of the choppy action on the Stoke RSI. I wouldn't put much stock in this. I wouldn't be too concerned. I think this is going to loop back up. So Sandridge is looking good. It's in the consolidation phase. And in consolidation phases, you don't want to pay too much to the oscillators because they're momentum oscillators. And when you're in a consolidation, there's no momentum. So don't put too much weight on the oscillators. Next stock up is for JT. JT is looking for a read of ETLP, and that's Elite Pharmaceuticals. And when I first pulled up this chart, I didn't have a trend line on it. And I said, for giggles, let me draw my trend line, see what it looks like. And it's amazing what it does. And it really just illustrates where there are buyers. And there are buyers back here. Once we touch, not once but twice, the lower band of the rising uptrend channel, buyers come in. So you have traders out there that are watching the charts. Even though it's an OTC stock, they are watching the charts. Watch for a double bottom setup at support here on RSI. Lots of distribution. This is a daily chart. So volume dropped off considerably today, being Wednesday. This is a concern. Both the fast and the slow line and the slow Stokes are trading below 50. You're going to want to see these loop up. You're also going to want to see a double bottom setup or a higher low on Williams percentage R. Next stock up for JT is CSIQ, Canadian Solar. This is a weekly chart. JT, I'm going to have to say avoid this stock right now. If it consolidates here a bit further or recovers off the lows of the week and closes near the highs, maybe I'd get interested in it. But what really stands out to me about this chart is that it had a beautiful, absolutely beautiful double bottom setup starting back in late 2011, completing in late 2012. We broke out in early 13 and just a beautiful, beautiful rally. But we've broken trend. We've broken a weekly uptrend, and that sets off flares, warning flares to me. I can't tell you how much. And every time we try to rally up to this upper band, you could see sellers come in. Note the topping tails. So if we break down below, say, 33.80, the stock is probably as short, and it could easily pull back to 26.10. So I would be real careful with this one. It's highly volatile. We are breaking down on the RSI. Downtrend on ultimate oscillator, and take note of the ADX line. A reading above 55 is very, very overbought. This is a weekly chart, and we are at 60. Breaking down on slow Stokes. I have to say, if we close out the week looking like this, I would avoid it. If we rally, this chart can change considerably by Friday afternoon. If we rally off the lows and we put in a key reversal, meaning we close higher on the week. Next stock up. Actually, the last stock was for fellow member Will. Apologize about that, Will and JT. And the next stock up is for Will as well. Symbol BITA. Well, you can see this is a daily chart. We had our uptrend. We're still in an uptrend, but we broke it here. So I kept that primary uptrend line in place. And the reason why I do that is because prior support tends to become new resistance. And you can see that's exactly the case right now. So I would need to see a pullback on this stock, I don't know, probably down to $33.30 to $34 per share before I got interested in it, or it would have to close above the prior lower band of the rising uptrend channel. This is a very, very volatile stock, so I would just be careful of it. Doesn't mean it can't head higher. It certainly can. Volatility, it's hard to predict. Take note of your RSI, in fact. It's looping back up above 50. That's pretty good. Stokes, the fast line appears to want to loop back up. One day does not make a rally make. Volume to the upside, though, was very, very light today, and you had clear distribution bars the prior few days. So just be forewarned, you had some institutional distribution. Just be careful of this one, Will. Next stock up is for Fernando. Fuel cell. I traded this one a while ago. FCEL. All right, this is much like the chart pattern that we saw on Plug last night, PLUG. Very, very similar chart. And you could see that you had an exhaustion rally, pure short squeeze. Every time you see these gaps higher and these attempted moves higher and then selling into it, that's shorts getting squeezed and people selling into strength. And finally, you had on Tuesday this bearish engulfing and then the subsequent pullback to the lower band of the rising uptrend channel. Now, I know the guys that trade these stocks, you love the go-go beta stocks, high beta stocks. I get it. Let it pull back. Let it retest this lower band again. If you get a successful retest of the lower band, jump in. As soon as it touches that line, then put your stop loss just below that lower band. Keep your loss small. Take a note of the double top on RSI. Good volume these past several days to the upside. You have your distribution day. No shock there. Double top on ADX. Stokes are rolling over, so it's not an all clear. So if you buy right and keep that stop lossing, you have minimal downside risk. Would I buy it at where it closed on Wednesday? No way, not for me. But that pullback to this lower band, not to be repetitive, would be a good entry point because you know right where to put your stop loss. Next stock up, Tesla, weekly chart. All right. New Jersey banned whatever the Tesla, direct sales from the manufacturer. You know, they'll get around it. Elon Musk is no idiot. So they'll get around it eventually. So this is just a stumble in the road. That being said, the chart, what does it look like? Well, the first thing that jumps out at me is that we are seeing slow Stokes, which may want to loop back up. However, I can't get excited about the slow Stokes because the price pattern or the price action trumps the stochastics. And you can see we have topping tails. We have resistance at 265. You have sellers up here. And those who bought back here want their money back. So the minute we get back above or near that 265 level, you're going to see a little bit of resistance. Volume is not overwhelming this week, despite the bad news out of New Jersey. We'll drill down to a daily chart on Tesla, see what that looks like. I know there are a lot of people out there that like this stock. Really getting weak on the ultimate oscillator, trading below 50. Take note of the Williams percentage R. Possible pullback for double bottom setup. That might be a good entry point. Volume today was an up day on light volume, below average volume. And we saw a topping tail. It's a sign of resistance. Draw your trend line down. You're going to break out above 250 in the close. You may want to try to rally it up to recent highs. You got to use a trailing stop loss order if you're going to trade it as a momentum stock. Take note of money flow, possible double bottom setup at 51.16 on money flow. Slow Stokes are rolling over, but the fast and the slow line is still above 50. That's bullish. RSI is hooking up. Wait for a second pullback. See whether or not you have a double bottom setup. This pivot point right here, 234.99, you get a pullback and a bottoming tail. Might be a good entry point as well for Tesla. Next stock up is for Bill, SZYM, Solazyme, Inc. I love these stocks you guys pick. All right, Solazyme. I don't know what they do, so you're going to have to forgive me. Good volume, accumulation. My voice is starting to go, so bear with me. All right, so what we're looking at here is a stock that's respecting the lower band of the rising uptrend channel. But this is not the primary uptrend channel. You got to remember that this is back here. So this is a momentum stock. You're going to close above 15. You can be a buyer. Just use a tight trailing stop loss order. However, I like to get a pullback to this lower band of the rising uptrend channel, or even better, to the 1325 level, and look for an entry point there. But the chart looks good. I can't ignore these bottoming tails. Looks good. We broke out of fairly tight resistance, and we held it. Take a look at the weekly chart. I know what you're saying, Billy. I know that voice. He likes it now. I just might. Looks pretty good. All right, so what are we dealing with here in terms of historical resistance? We have buyers back here that are looking to get made whole. Take note of this big topping tail. So you're going to have a fight to get through to the 1631 level. Doesn't mean you can't buy it, but you have to buy it at the right price. I would let it pull back to that lower band of the rising uptrend channel, as I mentioned. You can try either of the two lines. Just use a stop loss order just below those two levels. Really good base it's formed here. In fact, you have an inverted head and shoulders setup. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Basically, an head and shoulders setup turned upside down. So you're going to have resistance from buyers that want to get made whole back here and back here. But I think the stock probably heads higher. The trend is up. I may be a contrarian, but the trend is always your friend. So good volume. Looks like a good chart, Bill. Just got to buy it at the right price. Volatility. Next stock up is for fellow member Victor, FEYE. This is an interesting chart. Triangle formation. It's respecting the lower band of the triangle formation. We closed higher on the day, and we even traded below that lower band, and we recaptured it. That's respect. I love that. Volume rose. I don't like this when both lines, but this is a young stoke. It doesn't even go back 6 months. So I'm not going to put all that much stock in this, but just take note of the fact that you have both the fast and the slow line trading below 50. I'd be a buyer either here or on a breakout and a close above the declining downtrend line. Like the stock. Looks good. FEYE. Next stock up is for Victor as well. IFON. Victor, you've been a member a long time. You know I'm going to mention these topping tails. We can't ignore them. So you probably already know the answer to the question. I would be looking for a pullback. It's definitely not a short, but I would be waiting for a pullback to retest the lower band of the rising uptrend channel. Note the divergence on the ultimate oscillator. The stock is moving higher. Let's do this. Let's do an overlay to illustrate the divergence. So you have a stock price that's moving higher, yet the ultimate oscillator is declining. It's in a downtrend. That's a divergence. I don't like that. That bothers me. So I have to say warning flag is on the track with the stock. Doesn't mean you can't speculate. If we pull back, retest like we did back here, you can buy. Just put a stop loss just below the lower band of the rising uptrend channel. Now, really quick on the slow Stokes, I like that it looped back up. It recaptured trend, an uptrend, which is good. Possible, and I only say possible, double top on the Williams percentage R. could head higher. Next stock up is for Chad. Chad wants to talk about hemp. All right. I always like a good pennant or triangle formation because they give you opportunity. Traditionally, what you see is a breakout and then a pullback and a retest of that prior resistance level, which is now act as support. That is my litmus test before I enter a stock on a breakout like this. So if we get a pullback and retest and you have buyers come in like they did on Tuesday and bid it off of that support level, that's a validation by the market. That's the market telling you this is no longer resistance, this is support. And it confirms, it verifies the breakout as being healthy. Down volume today, very, very light, bullish sign. All right, so hemp is looking okay. But ideally, as I said, I'd like to see a pullback and another retest of that support level, prior resistance. Last stock up, Alpha Natural Resources. This is one that we were stopped out on last week. Do I take losses? Sure I do. Every once in a while I take a loss. So we took a loss on this one. We kept our losses small, and thank God we did. This is the second time I've traded Alpha Natural Resources in the past year and took a loss. And I was so happy I did because when it broke down below support, it just tanked. And it did it once again here. So I like Alpha Natural Resources. I think that it's a hated stock. And as a contrarian, that means I love it. There is a catalyst that I will not talk about. My members know what that catalyst is that can really propel the stock higher. And I will be looking to get back in to Alpha Natural Resources. However, the selling needs to dissipate some. This week's low would be an interesting support level, little bit of a bottoming tail. I like the fact we're putting a double bottom in on the slow Stokes. But let's face it, this is a vicious sell-off. So we want to stand by, watch for buyers to come in to show us where support is. If we flash a key reversal this week, we may be long once again in the stock. But we want to keep our losses small and watch and wait for good risk to reward entry points. That's what trading is all about. And that's it for the member stock pick request, folks. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. If you're watching this on my website and you want to get future videos and my trade tutorials, just enter your email address and we'll get them out to you each week. You will not be spammed. We hate spam too. And I will talk to you soon. Take care, folks. Have a profitable week.